The United States of America has more nuclear weapons than any other country. This was accomplished including a complete update and renovation of existing weapons during my first term in office, where I rebuilt the military. Because of the tremendous destructive power, I hated to do it having to do with nuclear weapons, but I really had no choice. Russia is second in line and China is a distant third, but will be even within 5 years. Because of other countries' testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis. That process will begin immediately.
All right, shalom, shalom. Just a brother Shakar here with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom. All right, I'm going to start off here in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, and verse 16. And it says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Now, the modern day smith, okay, that would be your scientist. Okay, you go back to Operation Paperclip, okay, the Manhattan Project. Okay, you have these German scientists, okay, which go back to Tiemann. Okay, Tiemann is from the lineage of Esau, a descendant of Esau. You see, which would be your so-called Germans today. You see, you had half go to Russia and half go to the United States, which pretty much, okay, they created these weapons of mass destruction. Okay, they split the atoms, okay, so on and so forth. So the modern day Smith, okay, that's your modern day scientist, okay, that have created, okay, these weapons, man. These weapons that have been made for destruction, okay, these weapons that have been made, okay, to bring forth death, man. Again, it says, Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire and bringeth forth an instrument, see, for his work. I have created the waster to destroy. You see, so those missiles, okay, they were not created, okay, just to sit in silos. Okay, that's why you have these nations, okay, they're ramping up, man. Okay, they're getting ready for the end of all things, man. Okay, for the war that's going to end all wars. You see, World War III. You see, and these nations, okay, they're testing these missiles to make sure that they're ready, okay, when they're going to be put to use. You see, these nations are getting ready to put these weapons, okay, to use, man. You see, again, they were not just made to sit in those silos, man. Okay, they're getting ready to use them. You know, these nations are ramping up, man. They're gearing up for that final world war. But you see, it's the Lord, okay? He's putting that spirit, okay, upon these nations, okay, to move in this way. Let me grab this in Joel, chapter 3, and verse 9. And it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay, these nations are getting ready to gather in the so-called Middle East. Okay, again, they're getting ready, you know, to bring forth that war, okay, that's going to end all wars. Again, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. It says, Beat your plowshares into swords, see, and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I'm strong. Okay, because you got these nations that weren't really capable, okay, of having these weapons of mass destruction, okay, but now they have them. You see, they're using all that money that they will use, okay, for means of agriculture, but now they're using them for what? For these weapons. So now you have these weaker nations, okay, now they become strong because now they possess, okay, those nuclear warheads, man. They possess those missiles. It says, Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Now the mighty ones, okay, that's speaking about the angels. Okay, the Lord is using the angels, okay, to put a spirit upon, okay, these leaders to think about war, man. Okay, to think about, okay, having these weapons, man. Okay, to prepare themselves for what's coming. It says, let the heathen be wakened, see and come up to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen, see round about. So again, the Lord is going to use those angels, or he's using the angels. Okay, these nations, these leaders have a certain spirit upon them, okay, to think about war, man. Okay, why do you think, okay, DJ Trump, okay, he changed, okay, the name from Department of Defense to the Department of War? Again, because the Lord is using the angels, okay, to put a certain spirit upon these leaders. Let me grab this. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 1. Listen, it says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai, meaning the mind. It says, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So right now you got these nations, okay, they're thinking about war, man. You know, they're preparing themselves, okay, for that world war. Okay, they're testing their missiles, man. Okay, they're getting ready, okay, for what's coming. You see, because ultimately, okay, these are the Lord's missiles, man. Okay, okay, these missiles, okay, that's just one sword, okay, that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai is using. You see, and the Lord's going to use this sword, okay, to bring forth judgment, man. And again, okay, that's going to be by what? By bringing forth World War III. These are the Lord's missiles. Let me grab this. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 25. And it says, see, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai had opened up, listen, his armory. So these are the Lord's missiles. And hath brought forth the weapons, see, of his indignation. So the Lord's righteous anger. It says, for this is the work of the Lord power of hosts, see, in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay, that when you go back to the Chaldeans, those were the ancient witches and warlocks, okay, of the Neo-Babylonian, okay, time period. Okay, but now your modern day Chaldeans, that would be your banking families. Okay, everything that they push forth is wickedness, man. You see, and they use that witchcraft, okay, to bring forth abominations. You see, and the Lord's going to put an end, okay, to Esau's wicked rulership, okay, by bringing forth, okay, his weapons of mass destruction. Again, these are the Lord's missiles. And he's going to use these countries, these nations, okay, these leaders, okay, to bring forth this war. Let me grab another one. Let me go to Isaiah chapter 13 and let me see, verse 3. Listen, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones. See, for my anger, the mighty ones is speaking about the angels. Now, the sanctified ones, that's the prophets, because they're bringing forth, okay, the warnings, you see. But you see, the mighty ones, the angels, okay, they're putting a certain spirit, again, upon these leaders, man, okay, to think about war. Again, it says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger. It says, even those that rejoice in my highness. Listen, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai of hosts mustereth the host, see, of the battle. So it's the Lord. He's doing it. Let me get another one. Let me go to Zephaniah chapter 3 and let me see. Verse 8. Listen, it says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yehoshai, unto the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination, listen, this is the Lord's determination. Okay, this is what he wants to do. This is what is on the Lord's mind. Again, it says, for my determination is to gather the nations that I may assemble the kingdoms, listen, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Does that mean the whole earth is going to burn? No. Okay, there's going to be certain parts of the earth that are going to take part, okay, in that destruction, especially here in so-called America, man. This place is going to be a wasteland. Okay, it's going to be totally annihilated. Then you got the land of Israel that's got to be cleansed. So that place has got to get burnt. Okay, and there's also going to be other places where also the Lord's allotted, okay, that destruction to take place. See, but the Lord, he's doing it. You see, this is what the Lord wants. Matter of fact, let me go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. And let me start off in verse, I'll start off in verse 3. It says, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? It says, plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? It says, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? It says, or may one quench the fire in stubble? It says, when it begun to burn? Okay, and the answer to all these questions is no, man. Okay, nobody can stop, okay, the fire from coming. Okay, nobody's gonna stop these plagues, man. And there's no way you can stop a hungry lion, okay, from devouring, okay, its prey, man. So nothing's gonna stop, okay, these plagues. Nothing's gonna stop, okay, that fire from coming, because this is what the Lord wants to do, man. Okay, this is His determination. Listen, it says, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. And who's that strong archer? Okay, who's bending the bow ultimately? Okay, yeah, the Lord's going to use His nations. Okay, but who's doing it? The Lord is doing it. Okay, once an archer bends back that bow, okay, you can't stop that arrow. Okay, it's going to hit its target. Listen, the mighty Lord, listen, sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth, see, from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? It says, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? It says, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? You see, the Lord's going to accomplish, okay, what he has in his mind, man. Okay, the Lord's mindset is to bring a destruction, okay, to so-called America, to bring down, okay, the rulership of the so-called white man. Okay, Esau is going down, man. Okay, and as that happens, okay, these other nations are going to go down too. That's why the scripture says that the Lord had many crowns upon his head. Let me grab that real quick. And then, Lord willing, I'll come back. This is Revelation chapter 11. And let me see. I believe it's verse 12. Yeah, I start off from verse 12. And it says, and they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Now that cloud represents what? The fathership, okay, where the elect are going to get beamed up. Okay, they're going to get delivered, okay, from that impending doom, man. That's true salvation. Okay, they're going to be delivered as so-called America is being destroyed, man. Okay, and then wherever else the elect may be, okay, to the four corners of the earth. But the biggest deliverance will be right here in so-called America. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. See, that's how bad it's going to be, man. Okay, the elect are going to make it, okay, by the skin of the teeth, man. You see, 7,000 is a complete number, so it's going to be a complete destruction. Okay, it says the 10th part of the city fell, ultimately because there's 10 FEMA zones in so-called America. Okay, from 0 to 9. Okay, and there's also 10 zip codes, again, from 0 to 9. You see, when the Lord brings, okay, this great earthquake, okay, again, which is that destruction, okay, it's going to be a complete annihilation of so-called America, man. But you see, as so-called America is being destroyed, okay, the remnant, whoever they may be, okay, they're going to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Listen, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, the second woe, that's World War II. And the third woe, okay, that's World War III, man, and it's coming quickly. And again, you see these nations, okay, they're ramping up, man. Okay, they're gearing up. Okay, they're gearing up. Okay, so they can use those weapons, man. Again, those weapons of mass destruction. Listen, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever. You see, when the Lord takes down Esau, okay, all these other nations, they're going to go down at the same time, man. Why? Because no other nation's ever going to rule again. You see, well, let's get it. Let's go to Revelation 19. I'm going to try to get to the point where it says he had many crowns, okay, upon his head. I'll just start up at 11. It says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. Again, that represents, okay, that fathership. It says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, speaking about Yahweh Shai, who the world regularly calls Jesus the Christ. It says, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. You see, so Yahweh Shai, he's going to bring war, okay, upon these devils, man. You see, as those missiles are flying, okay, Yahweh Shai is coming, okay, in that fathership, okay, right along with the host of angels, as it's going to tell you as we keep reading. You see, and they're going to be bringing forth destruction, man. Those laser beams. It says his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written. It says that no man knew but he himself. So he had many crowns, representing, okay, the downfall of all these nations all at once, man. Okay, right now, again, Esau, the so-called white man, he's in the power seat. Okay, but once he goes down, okay, no other nation's going to come up to rule ever again, man. Okay, we just read it. The kingdoms of this world, okay, will belong, okay, to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. Listen, and it says, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. It says, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Okay, representing the purity, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai is coming back in his angelic form. Okay, again, right along, okay, with the other angels. Okay, the host of heaven, man. Okay, they're coming to bring destruction. Listen, and out of his mouth goes the sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them, see, with the rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the almighty power. Hey, so Yahweh Shai is coming, okay, with the wrath of his father, Yahweh, man. You see, between, okay, the warheads, the missiles, okay, and the chariots, it's going to be overkill, man. So let me go ahead and go back to 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, and let me see where I left off at, I believe verse 12. Yeah, it says, the earth quaketh, see, and the foundations thereof. The sea arises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also. It says, before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. So the Lord came with great power, man. And that earthquake, okay, represents that destruction. It says, for strong is his right hand, see, that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss. It says, when they begin to be shot, see, into the ends of the world. And where are the ends of the world? Okay, right here in so-called America, man. Also known as what? As the fourth part of the world. You see? And see, and those missiles are not going to miss, man. They're going to hit their targets. They're going to hit that mark. Because ultimately the Lord's going to be, okay, he's going to be in the missiles. You see, he's going to guide them. Listen, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. It says, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth should not return again. See, and those plagues represent, okay, the missiles, man. Okay, that destruction that's coming, okay, from World War III. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? So the prophet Ezra saw it, and he saw how bad it's going to be, you see? Because these plagues, okay, that the Lord going to send, okay, they're gonna bring forth annihilation, man. Okay, they're going to bring forth destruction. Let me grab this in Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. Listen, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Okay, Jerusalem being a people before it's a place. Okay, that represents the elect, okay, right here in so-called America chiefly. You see? And what people have fought against, okay, the Lord's people, man, against the Lord's elect. Okay, these nations, okay, the heathen nations, okay, beginning with Esau, okay, even 2/3 of our own people, man. Okay, they've taken on the ways, okay, of the so-called white man, okay, Esau, the Edomites, and these other nations, man. Okay, they come against us. So you see, they all got to be taken out, man. They got to be destroyed. Listen, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. and their eyes shall consume away, see, in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away, see, in their mouth. Okay, what's going to make that happen, man? It's going to be that destroying wind. Okay, that nuclear wind. Matter of fact, let me grab this. This is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 1. Listen, thus said the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me. You see, those that have fought against Jerusalem, a destroying wind. Okay, that's that nuclear wind, man. Okay, that's going to come from those warheads. Okay, a great example of that would be, okay, that movie Terminator 2. You see, when you saw Sarah Connor holding that fence, okay, and then you see that warhead, okay, come forth, okay, and it takes the skin right off of her body, man. You see, while she's still standing there. Again, that's a great example, okay, of what's getting ready to come forth, man. Let me grab one more. Let me go to the book of Revelation, chapter 16, and I believe verse 16. Yeah, it says, and he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon or Armageddon. Okay, that's where World War III is going to pop off, man. But ultimately, those missiles, okay, they're going to come here to so-called America, man. It says, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake. Okay, it's all speaking about the same thing, man. That destruction, such as was not since men were upon earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. You see, the scripture tells us what in Isaiah the 24th chapter, that the earth's going to reel to and fro, man. See, the earth is going to rock back and forth, man, like a drunkard. Listen, it says, and that great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. It says, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh, listen, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness, see, of his wrath. See, this is all from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. Again, these are his missiles. Okay, he's bringing forth this destruction. Okay, he's putting it in the minds of his leaders, okay, to think about war. Okay, to have that mindset of preparing these missiles, man. Actually, let me grab one more. Let's go to Revelation 18 and verse 4. It says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Again, that destruction, man. Okay, this is going to be the deliverance, man. Okay, come out of her, my people, meaning that chariot, okay, that fellowship, okay, is going to beam up, okay, the elect, man. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Speaking about so-called America, Babylon the Great. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. See, in the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. It says, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. It says, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, meaning in her mind, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. It says, therefore, listen, shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. You see, so this is all coming from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to close out and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakak, Quadash, and double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of the great millstone, from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing his work with all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.